We got up early as usual, and since we had planned a somewhat shorter day than normal, we took it easy and didn't rush to get going. Still, we were on the road before 7 AM, heading east towards Gallup on Route 66. Before long, the old Route 66 disappeared and we were guided onto Interstate 40. We left the I-40 where we were supposed to and noticed the clock had jumped forward an hour. We had crossed another time zone. The park wasn't open when we reached the entrance, but it was only a 15-minute wait, so that was fine. We chatted with some friendly Americans on the road trip while waiting, and the time passed quickly. When the gates opened, we were the first one in, paid a few dollars at the entrance and headed into the park. Following Google Maps, we soon found ourselves on a gravel road, and life was good. We rode for about 20-25 minutes before reaching a locked gate. Nothing to do but turn around, but the road was just as fun the other way. We had now spent over an hour driving into the park and lost another hour due to the time change, so we didn't have as much time as we had thought. We decided to get back on the I-40 and follow it until the Route 66 app told us to turn off onto the original road. Luckily, it didn't take long before we were back on the mother road. One of the first things we encountered was 3 dogs taking their job of protecting their home very seriously. They ran after us, barking like crazy. It was no problem getting away, but we couldn't help thinking what a dangerous life these dogs had. We reached Indian City and snapped a few photos of the world's least authentic teepee replica. Then continuing onto a narrow half-paved road said to be the original Route 66. It took us under the I-40 through a tunnel with loose sand, and we felt like we finally got some real off-pavement riding for the day. We stayed on Route 66 until we crossed back into New Mexico, stopping briefly to check out the rock formation at St. John's before riding into Gallup. There we stopped at the famous Hotel del Rancho, where all the big stars stayed while filming westerns in the 50s, 60s and 70s. We each ordered a burger named after a movie star and enjoyed the atmosphere for a while. Very cool place. The next planned stop was Four Corners, where Colorado, Utah, Arizona and New Mexico meet, so off we went. Again, long stretches of open road, and we were both happy to stretch our legs now and then. We saw a dog clearly used to traffic. It politely waited at the roadside until we had passed at 65 miles per hour before checking for cars and crossing safely. Just before crossing into Colorado, the rock formations really started getting interesting. Not long after entering Colorado, we crossed back into New Mexico and pulled into Four Corners Monument. We had been warned that this was boring and a total tourist trap, but you can't always ignore a good tourist trap, so we paid the entrance fee to the Native Americans running the place. And rode through all 4 states in less than a minute. We stepped into the circle at the center and took the classic photos with one hand and 1 foot in each state. We laughed with a group of middle-aged American ladies, which technically was our age, joking about whether too much cleavage was showing as they bent over for the same photos. They were in a great mood, teasing us about keeping the dirty jokes to a minimum if we were filming nearby. We slapped a few stickers on the state signs and headed toward Mexican hats. After some beautiful roads and scenery, we crossed into another state line, this time into Utah. And put our mark on the sign. We waited for a pilot car to get through some road work and then stumbled upon an unexpected attraction, the Twin Rocks outside Bluff. Of course, we stopped, bought matching t-shirts and took a selfie with the Twin Rock Towers. Not far down the road, we made another unplanned stop, this time at the historic fort in Bluff. Having watched the Yellowstone spin-off 1883, we recognized the wagons and trading posts from the show. As we were leaving, a friendly man working there told us we'd better get going if we wanted to reach our destination before sunset. We rode on and arrived in Mexican Hat not long after. Took some fun photos, and the mood was even better when Joachim rode up towards the famous sombrero-shaped rock and then had to lay the bike down on the way back. Luckily, BMW designed the GS for middle-aged men with more confidence and actual skill, so no harm done. There we took the obligatory Forrest Gump photo. Then we rode straight through Monument Valley, agreeing this must be a geologist's wet dream. At the visitor center, we looked for a place to stay, but everything had been booked since we last checked earlier in the day. The closest available spot was in Tuba City, about 1.5 hours away, so another long ride in the dark. Around 8 PM we rolled up to Navajo Land Hotel and checked in. For once they asked us to write down the license plate number, and we remembered both. We unpacked and went to the hotel restaurant for dinner. We settled for soft drinks and ordered Native American food. This is probably the first time we've been to an Indian restaurant where the food wasn't spicy, but it tasted good nonetheless. The waiter tried to learn us some Navajo phrases. We probably did okay, but I'd forgotten everything by the time we fell asleep that night.